once I chose stillness as one of my guiding principles each day, then finding it in the moments where I needed it most has become the next challenge for me. So it's one thing, that each morning when I wake up, I choose to spend as much time as I have, or as much time as I'm called to in that morning, to be in stillness until I find the space of inspiration to get into creating from stillness, which I'll talk about later. But finding stillness in those moments of challenge, when obstacles are very front and center, or when there's chaos present in the environment around me, that's what finding stillness really is about for me. And so there's a few practices that I've been working with that have really demonstrated to me that I can find stillness in most situations. And I'm not perfect. I'm not, kind of too far down the path. I've been working on this for about 5 years now. But, as I look back over those, 5 and a bit years, I've been in some pretty tough situations. And, the practice of starting each day with stillness, has brought me back to, in those difficult moments, it's almost like a reflex for me now. That's what I look for. I look for, what I've historically called pockets of peace. But what I'm really searching for in this moment is, how can I get to the inner stillness? I've listened to a lot of Joel Osteen's sermons, and he talks about, Jesus has the famous line when his disciples are out in the fishing boat, and he walks on water and speaks to the storm and says, "Peace, be still." And as I watched that scene in The Chosen, one of the most powerful dramatizations I've ever experienced was watching that after I've heard the story so many times. As Joel Osteen says in his sermons, there's this, chaotic, fervor on the, surface of the ocean. But once we go down a certain number of feet, it's still. And he uses that as an analogy to, help us understand that on the outside, everything can, be in flux or in chaos. But when we choose to go in, that's where we find stillness. And whether, it has been, people in my life going through crisis, me navigating difficult, financial challenges or conflicts, supporting those people closest to me as they navigate, real difficulties. What I've come to look back on is that, in those moments, being able to access, breath has been a good way to do that. Walking and movement has been a good way to do that. Resting in prayer. So just this past weekend, my daughter was navigating just some overwhelming, great opportunities, but it left her in a state of overwhelm. And as I was supporting her through it, I recognized in that moment what I needed to go lie down and pray. And that brought me back to that place of stillness, where then I could step back in with her and support her in the way that she needed to. Even when I look back to before I was really aware that I was searching for stillness, when I used to work downtown Toronto, at lunchtime I would go out and I would find these courtyards. So there's a place called the Sculpture Garden. down off of King Street in Toronto. I used to go and sit and have my lunch there, or Courtyard in the University of Toronto. That just brought me this sense of peace before I even knew it's what I was looking for. I just naturally gravitated towards it. And, finding stillness could be like, going out and, finding that pathway to go for a quick walk in between meetings, or, doing a yoga class at lunch. Now those are some of the things that I do if I need to create a break in my day to inject some stillness, so that the next challenge isn't coming from a heightened place of stress. And so that's, those are some of the things that I'm doing in terms of, kind of finding stillness in my day-to-day life. It's proven to be something that helps me through some of life's more challenging moments.